Good evening, and happy Tuesday. And welcome to the Leadership Edge podcast. I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder. This podcast, The Leadership Edge, is committed and dedicated to leadership, all things leadership. We are called the Leadership Edge because it's our desire, it's our plan, it's our purpose to give you that edge you need in your leadership and in your leadership repertoire. We don't claim to know it all, but we know a few things. And so we trust that the subject matter and the information we give will help you as a leader in your leadership journey, your leadership growth, as well as your leadership development. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Now listen, before we get into our lesson tonight, again, you are watching me on BGTV Studios Facebook page or YouTube channel. Do me a quick favor before we get rolling. Go ahead, hit that like and share this podcast on your phone. Tag a friend. That helps the web of the BGTV Studios to spread far and wide. So share, like, follow. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for YouTube, for BGTV Studios. If you're not watching on YouTube, after the podcast is over, go to YouTube and subscribe. Want to get that subscriber list up, all right? Well, God bless you. Thank you. Let's talk leadership. Now, last week we talked about things that keep pastors up at night. Got a lot of good feedback from that one. That's a good one. I enjoyed that one. So we're going to pick up tonight. I don't know tonight, number 3, because I gave you 1 and 2, and I'll give them to you. 1 was the thing that keeps leaders up at night was, do my people get the vision, alignment, and are things getting done? And that's number 2. That's implementation, execution. Number 3, in my opinion, is one of the most important things. As a matter of fact, if I could take all, I have, I think, 18 different things listed here. I don't know if we'll cover all 18 in these podcasts. I might just do a few and, shut it down. I'll see. But out of the 18 things that's listed here that keeps pastors up at night, if I was sitting with a group of leaders, and let's say they were pastors and leaders of churches, and maybe they had their leadership teams, their elders and ministers and department heads, and I had them all together. And out of all these 18 different things that I have in my notes here, I could only talk to them about one. It would probably be number 3, what I'm going to give you tonight. Because in my travels as a leadership expert and a leadership guru that people look to. It's not a boast or brag, I'm just saying. 98% of the time that I preach outside of my local church, Covenant Church International, when I go to other churches, I'm asked to come in to deal with leadership issues, okay? I'm always asked to meet with the leadership team, to have a session with the team, okay? 95, 98% of the time. Very seldom do I get called and just go, you're coming just to preach, and whatever you want to preach, have a good time. Most of the time, I'm coming to deal with something. Okay? And that's what you do. When you have a problem, you bring somebody that's, an expert in that problem. Okay? And so one of the biggest problems that churches have are leadership issues. Okay? So in my travels into churches and ministries, big and small, the problem I'm going to talk about today is the most common problem that I find. In other words, it is number 1. I have to deal with that one most, okay? And I have taught this, what I'm going to talk about in these next 20 minutes, if I hope I can get finished with it, I get more feedback and response that this helped us, okay? So let's talk about it. The third thing that keeps leaders up at night thinking about their team is, how is my team working together? In other words, the issue here is, healthy conflict resolution. Most leadership teams I deal with have no clue of how to handle conflict resolution. Because anytime you get a group of people together, I don't care how much they claim to love each other, there is the potentiality for conflict. I'll prove it to you. I'm a husband. Some of y'all are husbands and wives, and you got two people, and y'all love each other to life. But I guarantee you, in your marriage days, you've had conflict. Matter of fact, you've even thought, man, how could I love somebody the way I loved her when I first met her, and we have this kind of conflict? Because conflict is a natural outflow of fallen man, okay? In a perfect world, if there was no sin, we would never have conflict. But because we're in a fallen world and we all come from different worldviews, different thought patterns, different ways of being raised, all kind of things, we bring all that into the team. And so now we got conflict. Something that I could say to Jim is not a problem. Say the same thing to Bill, and he's upset about it. Conflict. Okay? So all teams have conflict. As much as I love my team, I have never tried to teach my team to never have conflict. What I've taught my team, what I require of my team, is to have healthy conflict resolution, okay? And so one of the key secrets to the success of my team at this point is we have spent years, and I teach this at least every year to my team, healthy conflict resolution. Because I don't want to be up at night wondering, is my team getting together? I've seen teams, they don't speak to each other. They'll come to meetings, they throw off on each other, all kind of crazy stuff. Now, so let's talk about healthy conflict resolution. Is the team working together? I'm going to give you 5 principles here that I taught my team, and it has been revolutionary in our church. The first principle is the relationship principle. The relationship principle. What happens in the relationship principle is it says, I will treasure our God-given relationship above the problems or issues which would like to divide us, okay? So what we do is we come to the conclusion that God has called us together. God has joined us in relationship. We have cut covenant together, okay? We have cut deep covenants together. So as a result, we are related by the blood of Jesus and by the commitment of covenant together. And so we both determine that our relationship and our covenant is greater, and I value that greater than the problem seeking to divide us. Once you make that, that's how me and my wife function. Okay, whatever problem comes into marriage, our relationship is valued greater than this problem. It's called the relationship principle. Now, just saying that once or twice ain't gonna get it. Something you have to drive home and you have to hold people accountable for. And so the first thing we do is people that come to be a part of that team, they have to commit to cutting covenant with us, but they have to commit to the relationship that we are building relationally, okay? And that no matter what issue come up, we are still related. And because we are related in covenant, we will never question each other's motive. I can deal with your action, but I won't question your motive. Because if I question your motive, then I'm thinking whatever harm you did to me, you did it purposely and intentionally. And if I feel that way, then we are not covenant together, because covenant doesn't intentionally violate one another. So whatever issue comes up and whatever you might have done to offend me, I'm going to give you out of the relationship the benefit of the doubt that's a mistake of your head and not your heart. Because the moment we question hearts, the covenant begins to break down. So the relationship principle, I'm going to value the relationship greater than the issue that tried to divide us. The second principle, and I've seen this problem, we call it the prime time principle. Prime time principle says that I will not judge our relationship based on the quantity of time spent together, but the quality of time, okay? In other words, you have to understand that, let's take the president, for example. Whether it's President Trump, whether it was President Biden or President Obama, anybody. The president of the United States, who we have to talk to most of the time? There are probably three people you have to talk to a lot. The Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State. He got to talk to those guys on a daily basis because of things happening around the world, okay? The Secretary of Labor, he may have to talk to for a couple of weeks. Why? Because the issues that he's dealing with are not as detriment to the nation's security as what the Secretary of State and Defense deal with. So the Secretary of Labor cannot say, well, you talk to them guys every day. You only talk to me once every 2 weeks. You can't judge the value of a relationship based upon the quantity, but the quality. I have to talk to them because of the nature of what they do, okay? Just like in my church, I have leaders I talk to every day. I have some leaders I talk to once a week. It's not that I love the ones I talk to every day better. The issue is what they do. Their job responsibility requires that we communicate daily. Your job don't. Do you think the head coach of the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles talked to the offensive guards much as he talked to Jalen Hurts? Do you think that he talked to he talked to the punter as much as he talked to Saquon Barkley? No. And it doesn't mean he liked them better. It just simply means that what they do requires more interaction. It's like that. It's how teams are made up. So the primetime principle, you have to help people understand, hey, it's not about quantity, how much, but it's about the quality when we do speak. I got friends that I'm deeply friends with. I got some friends that I'm in covenant with. We talk on a regular basis. I have one good friend. We're good friends, and we both have ministries. We probably see each other twice a year. But we're probably very close. And when we see each other, we eat lunch, okay, because we're moving that much. But we eat lunch, we catch up. And we don't never judge our relationship based upon the quality. We don't spend every day together. We don't see each other twice a year. But man, we don't have quantity. But when we do see each other, it's very quality. That's the primetime principle. We don't judge it based on the quantity, how much time, but the quality, okay? So that way you stop all that fighting within the team about who got the pass attention, who we spend more time with. No. You got to teach the primetime principle. The third one is the Lazarus principle, okay? This may be the most important principle. What do we know about Lazarus? He was dead, right? When Jesus got there, he was dead for 4 days. And after 4 days, what happened? It began to what? Stink, okay? So what the Lazarus principle says is that I will take no more than 4 days to process any offense, any confusion or unresolved issue that threatens the health of our team. So I teach my team this here. Listen, if you got a problem with somebody, you got 4 days to process it and go talk to them. Because after 4 days, what happened? That problem starts stinking now and spreading to the rest of the team. So you got 4 days. You got 4 days to get in there and talk, process, don't react in it emotionally. Stop, think about it, calm down. But within 4 days, you need to be talking to them. And don't even come talk to me about it if you haven't talked to them first, because the Bible says if your brother offended, go to him. It's probably one of the most violated scriptures in the Bible. We go to everybody but the person that did the offense. And so this is a healthy conflict resolution. So I teach them, hey, don't come to me saying somebody did something you 3 weeks ago and you still beefing about it. These are grounds to be put out the team because we can't allow the festation of infection to infect the rest of the team. And now you're going around trying to get other people to caucus on you caucusing other people to get other people to take upon your offense. And now they mad at the individual who ain't done nothing to them, but they take it on your offense. No, 4 days. The Lazarus principle. No more than 4 days. And when you go, you're not going confrontational. Why? Because in the relationship principle, say, what? We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You did this. I don't believe you intended to injure me, but here's what happened when you did this. It made me feel this way. We've had more conflict in our team solved by following the Lazarus principle. It didn't get hung out. I've met with teams at different places, churches, and they got folk been in conflict for years and they ain't said nothing. She did something to me 3 years ago, and you ain't said nothing? Everybody in the room could feel the tension and nothing's been said. The Lazarus principle. The fourth principle is the integrity principle. The integrity principle. What the integrity principle says is that I will not share my problem concerning that I have with the person with anyone else, my husband and wife included, before I go to the person. That's the integrity. In other words, whatever problem I got with you, you're going to know. I'm not going to talk to anybody else because I don't want to defile nobody else about this problem until I go to them first. I've had issues as a pastor. I got people in ministry I know. I've had people in ministry that offended me or did something that made me mad, and I was upset for a moment. And I never said one word to my wife. She never knew I had a problem with them. Why? Because why would I tell my wife when women naturally a little more emotional than guys, and she gonna side with me? Later on down the road, me and him done made up. And guess what? She's still mad at him. So now, if we done made up and the Lord want me to bring him to the ministry to speak, she can't receive from him because all she see is what he offended me, but not realizing I'm over the offense, but she's not over it. That's why you shouldn't share your stuff with no one else. Again, I tell them, don't even come to me. When a person comes to me about something, I say, have you talked to them yet? The only time I allow people to come to me with things before they talk to the other individual is if they really need coaching on how to approach the situation. I'll give them coaching. And that's it. But don't come tell me. They say, have you talked to them? Then I don't want to hear it. Now, if they say, Pastor, I need coaching on this, I'll give them coaching. Otherwise, I don't talk to them. The integrity principle. I'm not sharing my problem with nobody else. So we got the relationship principle. I'm going to treasure our relationship above the issues. The prime time. I'm not going to judge our relationship by the quantity of time, but by the quality. The Lazarus principle. I'm not going to let no more than 4 days go by till I speak to them. Integrity principle. I ain't going to talk to nobody else till I talk to them. And then finally, I've had so many pastors come to me and say, man, this saved my life right here. The last word principle. That's the last word principle. It's the last one. What's the last word principle? The last word principle is I am committed to believing that what you said to me last about me, okay? So I'm standing on whatever we said last, that's what I'm going to believe. I'm not going to allow my moods or any other emotional gauge to determine the health of our relationship. You know, whatever you said to me last, until I hear something different from you, that's where I'm going. It's the last word principle. Let me tell you how this saved me one time. Not saved me, let me tell you this issue. There's a good friend I have, a good friend. Don't want to call his name, but matter of fact, he's the same guy who I said we only meet a couple of times a year. One of the times we probably meet, we was going to lunch. I went to his church to see him. And when I got there, he wasn't ready. They took me in the conference room, let me wait in there till he got ready. I was in there about 20 minutes before they came and got me in when we had our meeting and went to lunch. Great meeting. We reaffirmed our relationship, our covenant with each other and all this here. And we went our way, like we always do. About 6 months later, one of his chief guys, his armor bearer, the guy who was there at the meeting, who was there at the church that day, showed up at my church. And I said, hey, what's this about? He told me he had fallen out with the pastor and that he wasn't at the church no more. So he said, you remember that day you came to see the pastor? I said, yeah. He said, and they made you wait in there about 20, 30 minutes. I said, yeah. He said he wasn't busy. He was just sitting back there in the room. We watching you on the he was punking you out, man. Yeah. He had you sitting in there just to be sitting in there, waiting. And I said, yeah. I said, well, he said, so he don't care nothing about you, man. So I'm sitting there thinking, I got a decision to make. Here's a guy who is in this pastor's inner circle. He's giving me inner circle information. I can choose to believe that and get mad at my brother. Or I can function by what I've been preaching, the last word principle. And the last word the guy said to me at our dinner that day was, hey, our covenant's strong. I love you, man. You my guy. So I looked at his armor bearer and said, listen, all I know is what's the last thing he said to me. What you're saying is something totally different. You could be totally true. I don't know. I said, but I'm going to believe what he said about me. And until he says something different, I'm going to function on the last word he said to me. So you don't have to come to me with no other stuff about him, because I'm not going to receive it. Whatever issues y'all got, that's between y'all. You don't even have to come back here no more, because I'm not going to let you drive a wedge between us. And I sent him on his way. Now, of course, you know the devil came and started talking in my head like he always do. But I said, I'm going to believe the last word principle. Now, I didn't go call him, hey, man, your boy came, explain. I didn't do none of that. I held that information until our next lunch, which was 6 months later, because we only meet twice a year. And we got together. I didn't even bring up the first thing. We got to talking, blase, blase, and I asked him about the guy. He said, yeah, he left me. He said he'd been trying to kill me, man. I said, well, let me tell you what happened to me. And I told him what happened. I said, he came, and he told me this, and that's, that, and the other. I said, but here's what I told him, that I function by the last word principle. And the last thing you said to me, I was going on that. I said, so I live by the last word principle. And if there's anything different, until you say it to me, I'm not going to change my position. The pastor's eyes swelled up in tears. Tears came down. He's listen. He said, man, this guy because he's close to me, he's been trying to kill me. He's gone to everybody I knew with stories like this. He said, here's the point. There are other guys who believed him because of his closeness with me. So they think if he that close, he must know the information. He said, you're the first guy that didn't believe it. He said, man, I appreciate you for being a man of honor. And as a matter of fact, after that, he had me come to his church and teach this exact lesson on conflict and the last word principle. I see some of his members to this day. This is about 10 years ago. I'll even see members now, and they'll say, hey, Apostle Wilder, last word principle. They still remember it. I go to conferences, I see pastors, man, that last word principle saved me, man. You gotta function. It puts you at risk. It makes you vulnerable. But this is how we live. And so on our team, we live by the last word. Whatever you said last, that's what we're gonna function on. And as a result, I'm not saying we got a perfect team. I'm saying we don't have issues. I'm saying we work very hard at living these principles, and it has kept our team together. We have, in my key inner circle leadership team, we haven't had turnover. The people that's with me, been with me, because we live, and they have to make a commitment to this. They can't make a commitment to this, they can't be in that team, because that's how I live, and that's how we live. So the third thing that keeps leaders up at night, keep pastors up, is do my team have healthy conflict resolutions? Because if your team can't get along, the church don't stand a chance. If the team is fighting, the church is going to fight. I often say it like this here. That's why leadership has a big burden. If I got a cold, my church got the flu. Okay? If I got a cold, my team got the flu, and my church got pneumonia. So whatever you have is amplified as it goes on down. Are you with me? So I cannot be flawed in our thing. So we as leaders have to set forth. So now people coming to church, they learn quickly this is how we function. And so what we do is we're able to keep immaturity down to the lowest level. Relationship principle, primetime principle, the Lazarus principle, that's very important. Don't let it fester long. Deal with it quickly. Integrity principle, keep it to yourself till you talk to them. And the last word, what's the last thing you said about me? That's what I'm going to believe. Hey, listen, my time is up. I give you my last word for the day on that, okay? So my time is up, but listen, I've enjoyed it. I hope you were helped by this here. I hope this blessed you. Again, not trying to, by no means, put out there that we are perfect and we got it going on. I'm just saying we've learned a few principles that we are committed to live by and govern ourselves by, and God has blessed us there. Now listen, don't forget to visit my website, www.pronaldwilder.com. There you can get my book, The ABCs of Leadership. It's on the screen there for you. Amen. That book will bless you, Principles for Personal Development. Go to my shop page. You'll find all of my leadership teachings there. the Lazarus principle. You'll find the Maximus principle. You'll find rules of engagement. It's just a lot of good stuff. But the best buy on my shop page is just bundle package. All of my leadership teachings that I have on there, over 30 leadership teachings are on this here jump drive. You just stick it in your device and you got everything I got right here. You put it in there and it'll rock and roll and it'll take you where you need to go. My latest 2 leadership teachings I've just released are on here. I hadn't released to the public yet. They're on here, called In the Pressure Cooker, Leading When the Heat is On. And the second one, What Happens When Leaders Fail to Lead. So pick this up. Everything here, you get it for less than half of what if you bought everything individually on the website. All right, the Lord bless you. Listen, don't forget BGTV Studios. This is a great platform, allowing voices like mine and others on here to be heard. We need your support. Be a monthly supporter, or a one-time good gift supporter. 100% of what you give goes directly to BGT Studios. We, the podcasters, do not share in one dime of it. The ways to give are on the screen. You can go online to bgtstudios.com, or you can text any amount to 84321. Please, if you love me and appreciate the Leadership Edge, be a supporter of BGT Studios where you find this. Thank you very much. Listen, my time is up. I'll see you next week. You be victorious, you be prosperous and overcome. And I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder, reminding you that leadership matters and leaders lead. God bless you. I'll see you next Tuesday.